Repeat the question, Sheikh. Hello, Samat.
Years ago, I read a hadith. I think I remember some of it. One day, the Prophet Aisha, they saw the moon, so he told her, "Ta'awadhi billah min al-qamr."
طيب.
Do you know what was meant by that?
طيب. خيرا inshallah. طيب. Question says, with regards to the discussion of the moon being full, and the Messenger of Allah sallallahu encouraging us to fast these 3 days/nights, could it be connected to the hadith that says, ta'awwadhi, seek Allah's refuge, ta'awwadhu, seek Allah's protection from al-ghasiq, meaning the what? إذا وقب, sunset, the qamar. Is there a connection, so on and so forth? Let's ask ourselves a question. When the Prophet ﷺ said, based off of this hadith that you're stating, seek Allah's refuge from this, meaning the moon, does that support your argument or their argument? Yes or no, ya Sheikh?
Okay.
Whose argument does that support? You're not answering the question, ya Sheikh.
Right. I went back and I'll recline from the.
La, we need a bayan, Sheikh, PDF. You gotta have it in PDF form. Your Toba.
It supports you. So I'll go with you.
La, it's not me. I never said me. I said them. I clearly what? I never said that. Me.
Okay, for them, I'll go with you.
So that hadith goes with what?
Goes with them.
Their argument.
Yes.
Hypothetically, is the hadith sahih? We didn't even mention that yet.
Yeah.
What's the proper understanding of that hadith? We didn't mention that yet.
Okay.
But based off of what you mentioned, Sheikh, Hafidhakullah, is that hadith will support their argument. Seek refuge from this, meaning when the moon is full, what? Chaos on the humans. Naam, ya Sheikh? Type. Secondly is, what would the connection between that hadith that was quoted be in fasting the daytime? And what's the connection between the moon supposedly having an effect upon humans' bodies or minds or their feelings at night? That's why I said that the issue is a what? A very long discussion. Wallahu a'lam. I'm sorry?
Initials AY, West London, may Allah preserve you. Can the concept of not wanting to become a statistic be used as a fuel to avoid sin and do better?
Question from West London. Does the concept of one being afraid of becoming a statistic, can that be used as a fuel to avoid sin? Yes, it can. There are many reasons why a person stays away from a sin. Several reasons. The fear of Allah, the love of Allah, the hope for Allah, failure in the worldly life, being embarrassed and exposed, being punished in the hudud. There are many reasons. There are many reasons, but the ultimate reason under which every other reason falls has to be sincerity. However, the concept of a person may leave off a sin and they're not sincere, but at least they didn't make the sin. They may not get the reward for piety, but at least they didn't what? Everyone understand this? In other words, I want you to, I'm walking to a bar, one night time. I'm walking on Jamaica Avenue, right? And then all of a sudden I see you pull up and lift. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh, where you going? Yani, I had to take my cat to the veterinarian or something. And I just, okay? Why didn't I go to the bar? Because I was embarrassed of you seeing me walking into the bar and humiliated and shamed. I didn't leave it off for Allah at all. I only left it off. I was scared of being Why? All right. So is there a reward in that? Not necessarily, because it wasn't sincerely done for Allah. But at least I didn't what? Yeah. So you're still winning at the end of the day. And there are many reasons behind leaving off what? Sin. A person can be afraid of the angels, the malaika. Shy. I'm too shy to disobey them. They're near me. Hafidhin. Huh? You see what I'm saying to you? Kiraman katibin, angels that write, then look, that take down. Raqibun atid, you be shy. There are many different ways of leaving off sin, huh? Wallahu alam.
And it shows UK, Durham, North Carolina. Assalamu alaikum, hayakallah shaykh. Is it considered halwa if a sister and a non-mahram are alone in the masjid with a short barrier? Is it halwa if there are two brothers?
Questions from North Carolina with regards to khalwa. Is it khalwa if two people are sitting in the masjid, opposite sex, and there's a short barrier between them? Or if there are two brothers, so on and so forth. It depends on what you mean. A musalla, a woman's praying in the back, or she's praying in one section and the man is in the front. You go into the masjid to pray. You don't know who's in there. You have the intention of making salah, you pray and you leave. If you're sitting in there and you know that she's sitting there, you're close to the curtain, she's close to the door, that's a different story. As far as one sister and two brothers, no, it's not khalwa because there are three people now. Wallahu alam.
This was AA Philadelphia, USA. In the tashahhud, what is the dua you make after the four punishments, as well as how exactly you make a personal dua after tashahhud?
Questions from Philadelphia. After the tashahhud, you seek Allah's refuge from the four vices or evil things. What is the dua that you make? Is there a personal dua that you make, so on and so forth? You can make any dua that you want to make. Any dua that you want of the good of this life and or the next life. Whatever you want to ask Allah for. The best thing, it should be a prophetic supplication. That's the best thing. If it's not a prophetic supplication, the best next thing in my humble opinion is for it to be in Arabic and not in English. As we've mentioned before, many ulama hold the view that it's permissible to supplicate to Allah in English in your salah, in the Fard salah. Everyone understand this? If you wanted some, you say, Allahumma aini ala dhikrik wa shukrik wa husni ibadatik. That's a beautiful dua to make as well. The advice of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu to his beautiful and blessed companion. Radiyallahu anhu. Wallahu a'lam.
Muhammad Salah, Halwa, Kuwait. Is there any hadith talking directly about memorizing Quran? May Allah bless you in both worlds.
May Allah bless you as well. Questions from Kuwait with regards to a hadith that directly mentions memorizing the Quran. There are many hadith about the virtues of the Quran, in which memorization is generally included. Hadiths about khayrukum man ta'allama, learn. Of course, the first thing of learning the Quran is memorizing it. Before you get into tafsir and the fiqh of the Quran, ahkam of the Quran, the lugha, you memorize it. Qul huwallahu ahad. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. So that's included in that. Also the concept of the reciter on the Day of Judgment. Yuqalu liqari al-Quran. It will be said to the reciter to read, to recite. Wartaqi, elevate, move up. And your place in paradise will be at the what? The last verse that you recite. He's going to be reciting, and in most cases, and Allah knows best, it's from the unseen, but that which seems apparent is going to be reciting from what? It's hifd. Wallahu alam.
Initials AC, London, UK. What does it mean that one has to understand the proof being established on him for Takfeer?
Questions from the United Kingdom. What's meant by iqamatul hujjah? Establishing the proof upon someone for takfir to be made upon him. Before we answer the question specifically, there's a great deal of confusion today regarding this issue and other issues. And there are reasons why. From those reasons, what I mentioned and explained last night is that the concept of takfir today is no longer just a purely religious issue. It's no longer 100% just religious, but it's also pertaining to other issues of legitimacy of government. Are you understanding this? In which a person may legitimize themselves via the religion, and they're actually not applying the religion and sticking to the religion. Like the munafiqun. They had nothing to do with Allah and His Messenger, the Quran and Islam. They only said La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah for worldly gain, political influence, things like this. That was it. They could care less. Waliyadu billah. Are we understand this? So the concept of takfir, are we debating on this issue purely based off of kitab, sunnah, the kalam of the salaf, the kalam of the ulama? Or are we coming to the table of discussion and debate of takfir with a cup that's full of statements, fatwa, and opinions from people that are pushed, backed, and controlled by certain governments? That is a reality. That's no disrespect to no scholar. That's a haqq. It's the truth. And the proof that that's the truth is look. As the poet said, you should use your what? You should use your eyes. Use your eyes. Read the news. Look. This fatwa was given. What happens to the scholar? You can't say that it's not an effect. It's reality. Everyone understand this? Not even that. It's not about scholars for dollars. No, we don't say that. A person can be afraid for his life. Scared to death. You saw what happened to the last person? You don't make that same mistake in speaking about this publicly. And I'm not talking about one country. I'm not talking about one scholar. I'm talking generally. Everyone understand this? Let alone people, unfortunately, who are bought for wealth. May Allah protect from them. I'm not talking about no island. I'm trying to disrespect no scholar. I'm talking generally. Everyone understand this? Is reality. So the concept of takfeer is connected to other things. The people are not going to have the same intensity because it has other connections. Just like the danger of takfeer. Calling your brother a kafir, and it's not true. The hadith says, إِلَّا حَارَتْ عَلَيْهِ. Except that it will what? Ricochet and fall back on him. So it's dangerous. So it's not just like any simple issue. Alright? So these are some of the reasons why the concept of takfeer is so sensitive. But the first one, in my humble opinion, is worse. Because the people, I mean, you look at the piety of the people, they don't care about the honor of a Muslim. They don't care less about what they say about a Muslim. They just talk about a Muslim like what? Like it's that. But takfeer? No, brother. Be careful. No, don't say that. Don't say that. Why? Because of the ramifications of politics. Because of the ramifications in the United Kingdom and the United States. We will tolerate you being this Muslim, that Muslim, but not this kind of Muslim. And for obvious what? Reasons. So that's first and foremost. As far as the simplified answer, iqamatul hujjah, it could be a person saying the proof and the evidence to a person. A letter, a message, a video. You tell them this is what Allah says, this is what the message of Allah says, this is kufr akbar what you're doing. It's shirk akbar what you're saying. And others may say no, that's insufficient. Rather it has to be a concept of izalat shubha. The doubt has to be what? Removed. It has to be clearly established. No excuse, nothing that they're holding on to, that this is major kufr what you're doing. And if you persist upon it, and you obstinately do it or say it, you may become a kafir. So now the question is, how does this take place? What if a person is so stubborn and so obstinate? The truth is clearly explained, but they refuse to accept it. Is that now iqamatul hujjah wa izalatul shubha or not? So sometimes it's a little bit of what? Give or take. Last but not least is the ulama of Islam, they have mentioned the differences between the kufr which is known and the kufr which could be based off of ta'wil. And it could be doubtful and dubious and hidden to many people. Alright? So there's details on all of these different issues. What's important is the student of knowledge. Try your best to learn the kitab, learn the sunnah, read the kalam of the salaf al-salih, and also look how they live their lives. And then later on, look towards the scholars who came afterwards, up until this day. And also, at the same time, never take your eyes off of how people what? Live today. How is the world today? With regards to government, with regards to nations. Is it like how it was then? Very important concept to take into consideration. And interpreting and understanding these statements. With regards to kufr and takfir, so on and so forth. So the answer to the question is, iqamatul hujjah could be mentioned in the proofs and evidences, but obviously that's relative. You may mention the proofs and evidences in a manner which is insufficient. The person may not understand. Many people, they just memorize hadiths, they don't actually have the proper understanding in what? Themselves, let alone giving it to someone else. So the hujjah should be established, the doubt should be removed, the ta'wil should be eradicated. There's no room here. If you say that drinking alcohol is lawful, that's kufr akbar. Because of this, because of that, kada. And which they basically agree to an extent, but they still want to do it and say it. Everyone understand that? Wallahu alam. That's in brief. That's what? That's in brief. Wallahu alam.
Is there a ruling regarding the disposing of unwanted Ruqyah water?
Last question that we'll take tonight. Is there a ruling with regards to disposing of unwanted Ruqyah water? In brief, Ruqyah water is something that the ulama of Islam may not necessarily agree on. What's meant by Ruqyah water? Is it permissible to recite the Quran or hadiths or adhkar nabawiyah? Can you make the Ruqyah over water and spit in the water? Is that from the sunnah? Is that permissible? Those who say that it is permissible and it's from the sunnah and it can be done, obviously they're not going to waste the water. Use the water for something. Whether you drink with it, wash with it, whatever you use it, put it in the grass, use the water for something. Don't waste water. And others, they may say that is not even from the sunnah from the beginning, to make ruqyah upon water. Let alone the water to be what? Left over. Everyone understand this? Last but not least is the concept of water that has some type of paranormal or supernatural effect on it. It doesn't mean that the water has to be wasted. The Prophet ﷺ, he informs us in the hadith of Jabir in Sahih about covering the vessel at nighttime. Covering the vessel, pull the drawstring, pull the water skin, close it tight. Because there's a what? There's a disease. إِلَّا نَزَلَ فِيهِ مِنْ ذَلِكَ الْوَبَاء. An illness that comes down and it falls down upon the things. So if you have a cup of water that's out all night, it could have been that night, it could be that day. That doesn't mean that you do what? Waste that water. Even though the water could be spiritually. Everyone understand this? So therefore, I wouldn't advise to waste the water. Use it somehow, be the nice subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahu alam. Well, sometimes water can be wasted. Sometimes water is recycled. We've mentioned this before. Sometimes it's recycled, and sometimes it's what? Wasted. Wallahu alam. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam wa barak ala abdihi wa rasulih nabiyina wa imamina Muhammad.